Hello! This is me just trying to help out a friend who's asking about how to work creating their own shading and or trying to figure out how to yeah, he's been trying really hard to make his colors blend together a lot better. So I was hoping to be able to make something like a tutorial that would help hopefully create some understanding. So he was having some trouble with colors, so I wanted to just start off by talking about how colors work, especially in the digital mediums these days. So here's some pink. So right here, this could be kind of confusing. I know it was for me when I was first starting off. I had no clue how the range went. But basically, how this piece works is it goes up and down in value. So on the far left, there's white, and on the far bottom left, it is black. And in the middle should be some median, some gray. Whereas on the other side, it always confused me how that worked. So up and down works with value, and left and right works with chroma or saturation, which has to do with yeah. So let's jump over here. I made this little scale to try to create some sort of understanding of how this works. So the more that it goes to the right, the more saturated it's going to be. The more to the left, it's going to be quite unsaturated. And in the sense of trying to create shading and value through this can be a little bit tricky. Here I have 4 different variations of shading using a base color with a highlight and a shadow. Sometimes, many times, objects will have more than one highlight and shadow. Sometimes they'll have like a low light where it's like a reflection of the light off of the surface on the bottom. But for right now, we'll just talk about those two. So he said he was having trouble like blending together his colors. So one thing that should be pointed out too, that there's the color wheel for sure. Right here. All these different colors. Many of them don't go well together, but a lot of them do if you know how to do it. If you know the little secrets. Wow. So here I made a 3-dimensional graph of how there's the saturation and then there's the value. But in this third variation, there's a hue dimension, which I feel like a lot of people miss out on when they're doing digital art. So right here we have using just simple change in value to try to create some depth. So it starts off with the base color and simply goes up and down. So this one should be right there. Oh, looks like there's a little bit of a change in saturation between the 3. But for the most part, it's going up and down. The second one works in just saturation, going left and right. So you can see how it creates a very different atmosphere than it does for this first one. This first one almost reminds me of, well, they all kind of look like pencil erasers. But this one, despite the contrast between these two colors, it looks a lot warmer on this side, like there's some sort of warmer light coming from this side where a very white light would come from that side. Which makes sense, because it's becoming more saturated, closer to a full red. This is more of a gray red, and this is more of a whiter red. I think the correct way to talk about these ones is it's a change in tone, I believe. Yeah. Tone just means like adding gray to a color. So like instead of it being this solid red, and variations of it being from black to white. It's going into this gray section, which is a combination of white and black to create a new color. Now this third shape is working with both saturation and value, kind of playing around in the tone areas again. I like this one. I like to use this one the most with my art because it gives a lot more warmth and realism, I feel like. Like you can see here that it has a bit of a red undertone, like it's a little bit more more full of life than it would be if it was just like this guy right over here. This one feels very flat, very cold, as if it was a rock or something. I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe it's pottery. That'd be cool too. But yeah, I like to use this one a lot more because of the range of colors and the range of highlights that you can get with it. It's kind of similar to this fourth one, which is a change in both the saturation, the value, and also the color, like the hue. You probably heard about it in like elementary or secondary school that there are cool colors and there are warm colors. Colors that feel a lot warmer and remind you of warmer times, and there are colors that remind you of cooler times. And they work in different ways. Like blue is better for shadows, and I would say that purple would be good for really accenting like a piece of depth. I was finding out a while back about this little scale over here, which I put like, let's pretend this is a full range from white to gray to black. And then I took all of these colors and I'm like, how do these colors fit on this value scale? If I was going to get rid of all my my whites, my grays, and my blacks, and I just wanted to use all color, how would they fit on the scale? And I brought up this little black and white filter to just kind of give you an idea how, I don't know, maybe this is how colorblind people see it. I don't know. We can see that these colors, they have different values in the black and white range, even though they have color. So in some cases, some of these feel like they probably could be higher, and some of these could probably be lower, but for the most part, they represent a color. They represent a value within the color scale even. I would use green in many cases to create a light shadow. Where black was too much and gray was just too dull, I would use green instead. And it worked out really well. The problem with adding color, the wonderful problem of adding color is that you also get some emotion thrown in with these two. Like if you looked at somebody who was just a solid color like this little quick face that I made here, you would probably say, wow, you look very pale. It's because they're missing a lot of these other colors. You can't just do like the pencil eraser on people, because there are so many colors put into so many things that to simplify them into certain colors can sometimes be like not enough. Even adding this little bit of pink would make a face like this look get rid of so much of their pale look and give them so much more life, even just with adding some pink. I also wanted to get over and talk about how colors can work together even if they're not necessarily colors that usually go well together. Like, how do you get colors to go smoothly with each other? And I was using these two colors. These, of course, are like on a color wheel. They would probably be considered opposites. Like, let's say this one's red. There's some red. And then I'll just jump over to blue. Then there's some yellow. And then there's some green. So this would be considered an analogous color, I'm pretty sure, an opposite color, one that stands directly across on the color wheel. This is, of course, a painter's color wheel, but if I add in all the colors, I suppose it'd be just a color wheel. Yeah, so I don't. It's complementary color. That's right. Analogous was something else. They have so many different combinations. If you look up color theory, color combinations, you can find so many cool things to how different variations of colors go well together. You've probably seen the triangles before, the analogous ones, and then there's tertiary colors, which are like secondary colors. So if these ones are the secondary colors, boop, 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 and then these are the primaries, ding. Then there's little colors in between the secondaries and the primaries that are called tertiaries, and sometimes those are even used for making different color combinations. So since this one's green, there would probably be like a blue-green right here, and there would be a yellow-green right there. And you can take this red, and you could say that a split complementary color could be red, blue-green, and this yellow-green. I think this one might also be a cyan if you're going printers. I don't know. It works out. But yeah, if you're able to find a means of taking two colors and making it so that neither one looks like it's on top or the bottom, you can make them work together really well. I think this one almost works. These colors almost work. I kind of feel like this green is a little bit overbearing. Like it's kind of feels like it's almost on top of this red color. I'm just getting like my eyes are freaking out, and they think that there's a little bit of a dark piece right there and right there. Yeah, it can be trippy, man. It can be really trippy. But yeah, I'm hoping that this kind of makes sense. I don't know if you have any questions. If you can just let me know, and I can try to clarify that. Looks like there's one person watching. If you have any thoughts, just throw a comment in the chat and let me know if something doesn't make sense, and I can try clarifying it a little bit better. But yeah, for the most part, this is just for my friend, but I thought it would be cool to show other people too. I know that this whole idea of creating value with color is a little bit different. Not many people will talk about it as often, but it works really well if you get the hang of it. I feel like these might not be the best color combinations, like this orange and this kind of a purple red with this gray red. They work all right, but they could be better. These are just the basics. So hopefully that kind of gives an idea. Otherwise, I can just give a little bit of drawing, I suppose, while I'm on here. Keep it going for a little bit. Working on this Nami for some fan art. Hoping that the colors work well together, maybe. As you can see, I'm using some like purple to stand in for some of the darker stuff for the moment. Let's see if I could create. Actually, I want all of this to be white. All of this must be white to create an isolation mask layer. Okay. Hopefully I'm not grabbing too much. Yeah, I'm doing this as a kind of gift art for a friend that I met over at a convention recently. Hopefully they like it, and hopefully I'll be able to put in these newly found techniques, I suppose. So right now, this should be all opposite. So I need to go back in there, invert all that. Yeah. Just gonna check. If you have any questions, it might take me a little bit to get back to you because I can't see the chat stream. My little dinky computer screen. But yeah, dude, there we go. All right, let's throw some darker. I want it to be a little bit darker, a little bit more full though. Don't want to lose that saturation. Yeah, dude. Cool, cool. And let's see. I know there's a couple different variations of how to do this. Like there's a lot of people who like to do blending, but personally I like a little bit more of the cell shading style at first. I think it just looks really nice. Cool, cool. I'm not quite sure if there is a means of putting music on this kind of stream yet. So until then, I'll just talking to yourself is really hard. Honestly, truly, it is pretty difficult. So let's see what other colors can I throw in here? Try to create some depth. It's kind of backwards sometimes with like the light and the dark colors, though, when you're trying to create a feeling of depth, but you're also trying to create distance. Like sometimes darks can look really good as a silhouette in the front, which is kind of, you feel like backwards, or I feel like backwards. If like, if you're saying like, oh yeah, the things that are, if black pushes it backwards, then it should do that all the time, right? It's like, no, dude, it's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. Gotta get into some softer brushes. But yeah, if you have any thoughts, just leave it in the comments there in the chat, and I'll try to catch it. Check maybe every other 5 minutes, something like that. Man, I'd really like to play video games again. But creating cool stuff takes so much time. I wish I could create cool stuff. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Excuse me. Let's grab some perps. Oh, excuse me. I've been playing around more with markers. So I feel like that's kind of transferred over to a lot of my recent work. Like this little cross hatching. I don't know if I like it all too much just yet. I mean, it looks alright. It worked a lot better with a couple other pieces. But always so great. You've got to get good, son. You just got to get good. That's all. I think I'll go for maybe a little bit longer, and then I'll wrap this up. Just a short little bit. The only problem with streaming and using one of these programs at the same time is it lags up everything so fast. It doesn't do anything to the actual drawing itself or the painting, but whenever I try moving it around with the mouse pad or something, it always seems to lag for days. I don't know. This will probably take another couple hours before it actually starts looking like something. Let me try throwing some lighter stuff down there. See how that works. And then switch things up. Go to a little bit softer. Probably throw these on later. Actually. Cool. Just transfer that mask up there and give it a go. I've been meaning to get back into LOL for a while. It wasn't until recently that friend suggested playing it again. It's kind of fallen off my radar for the most part, but it's halfway decent. It's a halfway fun game. I feel like such an amateur doing these. My coloring is not good at all. some of this. Bubbles are always interesting. Always fun. Super difficult. Throw it back on one of these old harder brushes again. If anyone has suggestions on how to get good, please leave them in the comments below. I may or may not be able to do such. Ooh, ooh, ooh. A little laugh, a little cry. I really like that color blue. It's kind of like a violet indigo almost. Where did that go? It's right on top of it. Man, that does not look good. That headpiece. I don't like it. Let's try fixing that up quick. Alright, and I think I'm gonna try finishing up the stream here pretty quick. I think I like that purple a little bit better. I think that this purple works a bit better because of the color combinations. Like I was showing you the wheel before. This one would fall with the yellows and the purples. I think, yeah. I don't know if I still have that up. Yes, I do. As you can see right here, purple and yellow are right across from each other. So that makes them complementary, in a sense, that scale. It's a little bit off yellow, but I think it still works. Looks a lot better than this kind of a red purple that it was before. This one's a little bit closer to violet. I don't know, how did that? if it was this one, that, I don't know, it might have worked better if I did it right. Well, I guess I'll just leave it here for now. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for your time. And I'll see you later, maybe.